Let's talk a little golf, Chris. You and I are the biggest golfers here. We have a tee time on Thursday. I hope you come. Yes? 2 o'clock?
I'm working
Okay, working on it. But you and I are often out playing golf, so we don't watch professional golf. I think you watch more professional golf than I do. You probably gamble on golf more than I do because you gamble on everything more than I do.
Correct.
But I am very interested in these comments made by Tiger Woods and what impact they will have on the future of the sport. Tiger, by all intents and purposes, is the sport of golf. Like Tiger Woods saved the sport of golf.
Modern golf.
Modern golf.
Yeah, he's the face of modern golf.
He is and what's so interesting about where he is in his career is that he's still competing in these majors. He's still playing in these tournaments.
He's there.
He's there.
Yeah.
What, 2 years away from winning a Masters?
3. Yeah, 2019.
He's still part of it. It's not like he's retired and commenting on something that he used to be a part of. He's still in the mix. So it's an interesting time, but we all know that day's coming. So you can kind of feel Father Time creeping into the back nine of his career. But this whole, LIV Golf and guaranteed money and the prestige of the PGA and all this stuff, and it kind of ties back in a little bit to what we were talking about yesterday with Adnan. Adnan really struggles watching Tom Cruise on screen because of his feelings towards Scientology and what Tom's role is in the church. And so, where we as consumers, as fans, draw the line in our artists and our athletes and morality and what we can tolerate and what we can't. So it's an interesting and nuanced conversation in 2022 culture. And I think this golf stuff is right at the center of it. Taking this money from the LIV Golf tournament is saying that you are, complicit to the actions of the Saudis or what have you. Some are making that accusation of these players. Other players are saying, look, the PGA Tour is far too long taking advantage of us and not giving us guaranteed money and use our name and likeness to go out there and get corporate sponsorship that we're not a part of and all the things. So let's listen to what Tiger had to say when they asked him at the Open Championship press conference, which is happening right now over at St. Andrews. St. Andrews, the birthplace of golf, hallowed ground. And Tiger Woods had some really interesting thoughts about the state of the game. Let's take a listen.
I disagree with it. I think that what they've done is they've turned their back on what has allowed them to get to this position. Some players have never got a chance to even experience it. They've gone right from the amateur ranks right into that organization, and never really got a chance to play out here and what it feels like to play a tour schedule or to play in some big events. And who knows what's going to happen in the near future with world ranking points, the criteria for entering major championships. The governing body's going to have to figure that out, and some of these players may not ever get a chance to play major championships, and that is a possibility. We don't know that for sure yet. It's up to all the major championship bodies to make that determination, but that is a possibility that some players will never ever get a chance to play in a major championship, never get a chance to experience this right here. I walked out in the fairways at Augusta National. I mean, that to me, I just don't understand it.
If you're a young player and you hear that from Tiger Woods, how can you go play LIV Golf? How can you possibly go and play LIV Golf when you hear Tiger Woods say you'll never get to experience this? You'll never get to experience walking down the fairways of Augusta. That's Tiger Woods saying that. Like, we're so lucky as sports fans that still at this in this time that we live in, that we have Brady and LeBron and Tiger and these guys who have been around, and Sue Bird, who have been around for 20 years, Diana, and who can share some insight about the state of the sport. They've done it at a global level at the heights of which have never been seen before. And so when he's coming up and saying, I don't understand this, I don't think it's right for the game, you have to listen to him.
You do, or you don't. And $50 million, you care about that more than what it feels like to hit it out of the pine straw on 13. You know what I mean? Like,
a guy who's already got that amount of wealth, right, can say that. But when you don't, it's hard to turn that down.
He's talking about, so LIV Golf did pluck a lot of these guys kind of right from the college ranks. And it's been reported that they were getting a good amount of money, anywhere from like $15 to $25 million. So when you're 22 years old and you're about to embark on your PGA Tour career, or you're going to start out on the lower tours, maybe you're playing in Canada, Corn Ferry, what have you, you're going to go overseas and play in the DP, and it's like, hey, look, this other tour, it's less of a grind schedule-wise. There's no cuts.
Guaranteed money.
I'm guaranteed at least $125K for coming in last, and they're going to post $25 million up front for me to just go. And you saw the pictures and the videos of that private jet, that 767 or whatever it was that these guys were all partying on. Looks really fun.
Yeah.
And so, sure, I'll take that. I can understand while you're at that age when you've accomplished nothing, someone's going to give you all of this money out of the gate.
But he's speaking like the wise old oracle, and that is ultimately going to kill the longevity of the sport. Yes, it will be good for this generation of young college kids who are coming into it and getting to fly in the big plane, which is killing the environment, and they're going to go out there and make all the money, and I get it. But then eventually that's going to not stand for anything other than money. So there will be no emotional connection to the players, to the game itself. And I think at that point you're lost.
Well, there's no history. There's no tradition. Like, are you a big, I don't even know the names of their teams. The Fireball, like, really, what is the connection to that? What do the trophies mean? What does the tournaments mean? Nothing. It literally means nothing.
Money. And
it's
money
just
comes
for
and
money,
goes.
and it's for the Saudis to get everyone to forget about all the bad things they've done.
It's not a great television product. Are you telling me
it's
that
on YouTube? Well, you can't even. They don't even have a TV partner.
LIV Golf, sitting on the couch on a Saturday and watching Bryson DeChambeau come down the stretch to win, $20 million. You tell me like that's a better television product?
Yeah, nothing
to
about
connect
that.
with a young golf fan than Sunday at Augusta?
It's not going to elicit any type of emotion from any fan. Like when Tiger won in 2019, I was literally on my couch crying because that's how much it meant to me as a fan. And so LIV will never do that ever for anyone. Except, it literally exists to make money for these guys. And so if that's the path you want to choose, go right ahead. I'll judge you in the way that I'm going to judge you, but I would prefer it didn't exist at all.
There was another part of that soundbite from that press conference where Tiger talked about guaranteed money and getting it in the dirt, which I thought was a great phrase for someone of his stature. And the idea that you go out there and you earn it in that sport. It's not guaranteed for you. That's what keeps you sharp. That's what keeps you dialed in and keeps you getting better and pushing your game forward. I think there's something to be said for guaranteed money, obviously. However, it's not a team sport. You're out there by yourself. Go out there and get it. And I think there's something very empowering about that. And I think Tiger's perspective on it is incredibly valuable as for whether you're one of the older established stars like a Brooks Koepka or one of these guys who just said, okay, I'll go and do it. Or you're one of these college kids who hasn't made their name and hasn't made their legacy. And here, imagine if there was an offshoot of a bunch of guys in one of these other sports who wanted to just go start some upstart league because they were upset with whatever was happening in the NFL or the NBA. And you had, LeBron James sitting down and saying, like, this isn't right. I don't understand this. I don't think this is good for our game. I wonder how that would land with Paolo Banchero. Like, I wonder how that would land with Chet Holmgren and these guys. And it's a really interesting moment for Tiger, who's been through so much and worn it all on his sleeve. And my feelings about Tiger aren't necessarily the same as everyone else's. But I do admire, respect, and appreciate him because he's the reason why I fell in love with the game of golf.
Absolutely.
Like, I have an old EP who put me on TV for the first time. I will run through a wall for that dude for the rest of my life because he was crazy enough to think I should be on television. So I think that, when Tiger said, this is what made you in the first place, this is what gave you the opportunity to go and do that. That's really profound stuff. And I think it should have an impact on these
TJ,
players.
to your point about, yes, Tiger has all the money. He's a billionaire now. So it's easy for him to sit in this position and talk about how guys shouldn't take this big lump sum to go do this. Tiger also reportedly turned down $900 million.
Wow.
to join the LIV Tour.
So he's walking like he's talking.
Hold on, $900 million? Wait. As Chris Brockman would say, what are we doing
here?
What
are we doing here? $900 million.
And Roy McIlroy has also been kind of the prince.
Well, he's been great in terms of stepping up.
About all of this. Yeah, he was also offered $400 million. which is more than these guys could ever possibly dream of. And it goes back to the quote we were talking about with John Rahm, who was also reportedly offered a lot of money as well, in the hundreds of millions. Like, his life isn't going to change much. So what he cares about is the tradition and the majors and competing and the grinding. And I think that's super admirable and respectable, and good for those guys for standing up and speaking out.
You know whose life is going to change with $400 million, though?
What's that?
Mine. And guess what? Also yours. If I have $400 million, you guys, your life's going to change.
I've seen you putt.
Well, look, the PGA Tour is but obviously not perfect. You know, the U.S. Department of Justice has opened an investigation into the tour's handling of its players and whether it is engaged in anti-competitive behavior during its ongoing battle with LIV. So this story is continuing to unfold, obviously. But I think the idea of these young players hearing from Tiger himself speak out on the issues surrounding this change in the game, I don't know. I would like, maybe I'm altruistic. I don't know. I would like to think that would have some type of weight and some type of impact.